Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're going to talk about what really makes a great security analyst. And spoiler alert, it's not about having a giant, complicated plan. I love this quote because in cybersecurity, that punch in the face isn't some metaphor, it's a real attack. And trust me, when an incident actually hits, it's pure chaos. Your perfect plan, it goes right out the window. You know, we're always told that the key to success is this super detailed plan for every little thing that could go wrong. But what happens in the real world? In the heat of an attack, analysts get scared. They're terrified of messing up, of not following the script, and they just freeze. The plan actually causes paralysis. So what happens when the plan itself is the enemy? Well, that brings us to what I like to call the 500-page problem. And this is a true story, by the way. Picture this. An analyst. Alarms are going off everywhere. The pressure is on. Are they really going to stop everything to flip through a 500-page binder trying to find procedure number 552? No way. It's completely absurd. This right here, this quote nails it. The plan itself, useless. But the planning, that's everything. It's not about the binder you stick on a shelf. It's about the mental muscles you build, the critical thinking skills you develop while you're doing the planning. That's what you can't do without. Okay, so if these massive, rigid plans are a bust, then what's the alternative? Well, I want you to start thinking about your skills like a box of Lego blocks. It's really a tale of two approaches, isn't it? On one side, you've got these strict flow charts. They're brittle. The second something unexpected happens, they shatter. But on the other side, you've got your Lego blocks. These modular, adaptable skills that you can snap together in a million different ways to build a solution for any problem, even one you've never seen before. So, what are these core Lego blocks we're talking about? They're the absolute fundamentals. Things like network threat hunting, memory analysis, digging into endpoint data, UEBA, which is user and entity behavior analytics, and of course, knowing how to read firewall and server logs. These are the skills that work on any incident. It doesn't matter if it's brand new or old news. All right, let's make this real. A perfect example of this theory versus reality problem is in how we teach people about computer networks. For decades, we've been making students memorize this thing called the 7-layer OSI model. It's this abstract theoretical framework that has almost nothing to do with how the modern internet actually works. It's the definition of teaching theory over reality. And you can see it right here. The OSI model on the left, it's just overly complicated. It's academic. It's not the real world. Now, look at the TCP/IP model on the right. Way simpler, right? It's practical. This is the model the internet is actually built on. We have got to focus on how things really work. So what are the real building blocks you need to get? It's actually pretty simple. An IP address? Just think of it like a street address for a computer on the internet. And a port. That's just a specific door number at that address. That's it. If you get that, you've got the core concept. Okay, so now that we have these simple, practical building blocks, let's put them into action. We're going to use them to hunt for some malware on a machine. See, we don't need a 500-page manual for this. There's a simple, logical flow. First, you use a basic tool to spot a sketchy network connection. Okay, what program is making that connection? You grab its process ID. Then you dig in. What is that program? And where did it come from? You trace it back. Simple. And here's the secret. This investigative logic, it's exactly the same whether you're using a free command line tool or some million-dollar security product. Seriously, all those fancy tools do is slap a pretty dashboard on top of these fundamental steps. Which brings us to the big takeaway here, the most important point of this whole philosophy. What is the real skill that every security analyst needs? Look, you can have the most advanced tools in the world, but an alert from your fancy EDR or your firewall, it's just noise if you don't understand the fundamentals behind it. If you don't get what it's actually telling you about the network traffic or what's happening on the operating system, the tool is useless. And this quote is a pretty chilling warning, right? The more that companies depend on just their tools, on their EDR, the more they get hacked, and hacked horribly. Relying only on automation without that core human knowledge, well, that's not security. It's just a very expensive and very dangerous illusion. So that leaves us with a really important question to think about. Is the cybersecurity industry so focused on selling us the next shiny, complex tool that we're forgetting to teach the core skills? Are we forgetting that the one thing that really stops an attacker isn't a tool, but a smart analyst who actually understands the fundamentals?